Welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Testing Room, where three of the video game industry's best video game consultants, who have never actually consulted on a video game, bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka the Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Sudowoodoo45.
I'm Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah, welcome back everybody. We're excited to dive in this week and tell you what's been going on with us. But before we do, as always, we're going to stop by Preston's "Oh my, did we have some comments" corner.
Yeah. So last week we brought up a comment that was made on the Cyberpunk 2077 is still broken. Immediately after that, and after we recorded that, we got a handful of more comments that were
The world went to shit.
very extensive.
Everything
like
went down.
lengthy comments. Christian had responded to all of those, so I won't be going into depth on that. If you want to take a look at that little fun shit show, feel free to go to our YouTube section and check out the comments under the Cyberpunk 2077 is still broken. Big shout outs to Christian for going in there, giving in-depth replies and not just waving people off. That was very nice, I thought.
I was out here in these streets fighting by myself, solo dolo.
Fighting for your life.
Not only that, I was defending everybody.
Yeah, because we didn't play it, Alex, so therefore they were wondering why we were even talking about it. Which they may have missed the whole fact that we're just talking about games that we played that week.
Also,
I
to be fair, I beat the base game and probably collectively put more hours into the game than Christian did.
They mentioned that you played the base game, to be fair.
Yeah, but you also got shit for that because
I didn't play the expansion.
Yeah, which means you're a fake fan.
That's fair.
Yeah, so here's the thing. The only thing that I will say about it is that there seems to be like an overwhelming sort of like misconception. So just to be very clear, even though I said this in the comments, I think that we do a very good job of making it very clear about what these sections are, what we talk about, what we're doing. Some of the sentiment in some of those comments was that we did not give a full in-depth discussion to Cyberpunk, any issues that I personally had with it, anything like that. And the reason for that, the reason for that is because that's not what that is. Like,
it's not what we were doing.
Our weekly prologue is just us catching up, hanging out as buds, and talking about what we've done over the previous week. And so I personally was talking about the fact that I did not enjoy my time with the game that I had played that week. But more importantly, I had said multiple times inside that discussion that I wasn't going to go fully in depth because I didn't want to spoil Preston, who hasn't played any of it and is going to. And I didn't want to spoil Alex, who has played the base game but is going to at some point probably play the DLC. So I don't want to spoil anything for them because that's rude and shitty to do.
Yeah.
So,
can I just say sure. I was just going to say I'm amazed at I'm just shocked that, like, I guess I didn't realize the hornet's nest of a community that was sitting under this game for such a benign comment.
So I knew, but I didn't think... So, because I had been to the subreddit a couple times, like, when I was trying to look at issues, like, any of the crashes and any of the other stuff that I had, and there was a lot of people who were like, I know I'm going to get downvoted into oblivion for this, but, like... I'm having this issue, and that's just for people saying they're having technical issues with the game. God forbid somebody comes out and says like they didn't enjoy it. I'm sure that you'd end up getting somebody to come to your house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that that was one of the biggest misconceptions that people were having is that they were thinking like we just made that part like it was just me shitting on it just to like catch some views or something.
Also,
our whole purpose of the episode was you just to shit on that game.
It doesn't help that like they see. To be fair and for clarity, I edit and do all the stuff to put it on YouTube, so therefore I make the titles. I just kind of go with it, and sometimes there's not a great way just to put a title in there other than like sometimes I would have to put an entire sentence just to like bring up something. So I find out one thing that we talked about. And then I usually put that as a very basic, simple title. I did not mean for that to be clickbaity. I can see how it can be
wasn't.
perceived.
And who?
Yeah, I'm going to stop this right here.
No. It's so stupid. We don't get paid for this. The views don't matter to us, so we don't do things purposely No, they do, but like it's not our livelihood, so we don't purposely do things that are clickbaity, and it's stupid to apologize.
And I was gonna say
that
I don't mean to make it clickbaity. I put it down there. I can see how you would see that, but if you listen to the episode, you would know. But I can see how you would see that. I would
disagree. The reason that I would disagree with that, Preston, is because if you look at that episode, for most of the prologue, like an overwhelming majority of that prologue is me complaining about my time with Cyberpunk.
Sure.
So it's not even
big part.
It is, and so it like, but I'm saying it is the biggest part of, like, if you look at the time, like if we were to split it up into sections, it is the largest portion of that prologue, and so it's not even clickbaity because it is what we're talking about during that prologue. The problem is that, again, even though Alex, it's like he says it in the beginning of the fucking section every single time when he goes to lead into the show, is that what they were expecting is not what that is. And I would understand, again, I even said this in one of the comments, I would understand if we didn't do any of that, like if we didn't preface any discussions, if we didn't like announce the sections that we're going into, if we didn't announce like what our book club games were inside that single episode, anything like that. If we didn't say anything like that and it just, we were just talking and rambling and it just went on, that'd be one thing. But we don't do that. We say very clearly what's happening. And so even in that same, one of the people that I was going back and forth with was making misconceptions even in his replies after I'm correcting him, which is like, okay, yeah, so what you guys did was you went to this video, you clicked immediately to the Cyberpunk portion, you watched that 25 minutes of the video, clicked off, wrote your comment, and that was it. And if that's the case, I don't feel bad about roasting your ass later because it's not like it's your problem. So
now you're coming there just to yell, yeah.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing is like, look, I think, feel free, whoever wants to, if you guys want to go into that comment section and see. I think that I've made my case extremely clear, and way more in depth inside the comments. I would, if you are concerned about spoilers, I would not go to that comment section because I very clearly lay out exactly multiple issues that I had with everything. And who knows, maybe when you guys finish the game at some point, we could do a fucking
cast, yeah.
a full spoiler cast for people. But all in all, it's just, there was some misconceptions, I think, from some of those people, and it was very clear that, to Alex's point, I think that that community is just angry, and they really do not take criticism that well, which is fine. Hey, look, I get it. I've liked plenty of games, and I get when I see people, like, I remember when Devil May Cry 5 came out, and there was people who were mad about Dante's character being flamboyant and fun and all this other stuff, and they were mad that he wasn't more serious. And those takes made me mad. I was like, these people are stupid and they have no taste. I get it. I've been there, man. But did I go to that person's video and write a manifesto as to why they were stupid? No, because that's silly.
It's
not worth my time. I don't have that time. I did have that time to respond to people, though.
Well, they were directly pointed at you, not just at a game.
Yeah, I really just want to be clear. I normally would not care about any of that stuff, but when people are going to, like, misrepresent either all three of our positions on something, or mine, or directly either one of us, and also misrepresent this show, what we're doing this podcast for, and any of that, and any of that stuff, then that's when I'm going to take the time. Sure. Like, normally if somebody just came in, even I think I said this in one of my replies, but if somebody was just going to come in and be like, hey, I wish you guys would have spent more time on this. It feels like I got kind of like a half-baked sort of discussion on it, and that's it, and he just left. I'd have been like, hey, that's fair. You know what? I kind of just flew off the handle about a game that I was playing, which is what the point of that is.
Yeah.
But it didn't allow for like a deeper, nuanced discussion, sure. And that's fair. It's not what we were going for in the first place, so whatever. But I could at least understand that point of view, mm-hmm. And then be like, cool, right on. And I would have honestly, I probably would have never responded. I might have just responded in here when you brought the comment up and let it go. But yeah, when like the lying and the misrepresentation and all that other stuff happens, it's like, yeah, we're not going for that. That way, whenever the algorithm decides to serve that video up again, somebody can go ahead and look in those comments, read, and then, which I think is probably what happened, is because after my last reply to people, we were at like 198 views or something like that. We're up to like 300 now or something like that. Yeah. And so I'm sure there was a lot of people who got angry, looked at the comment section, and said, okay, never mind, and then moved on, which is good. Hey, that was what I was wanting. So,
all right. Well, again, appreciate all the engagement, no matter what it is. Either way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did get one comment that didn't revolve around Cyberpunk. This was on the National Treasure and the Da Vinci Code are the same episode. From a good friend, Mr. M. Meyer.
Is this about to piss us off?
Those two movies are most definitely very similar. Also, Tom Hanks is good, but highly overrated and overcast, whereas Nicolas Cage has absolutely given us some laughable performances. He is very underrated as an actor. His prowess often goes unnoticed. Thank you.
Now, just to be clear for everybody in the show, Mikey and Preston have been
I don't know if we need to bring that up. Like, we were roommates for like 5 years.
They have been
like
best
that. Been friends since high
forever,
school.
And Mikey would follow him into hell with any opinion he's got.
Christian.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that Nicolas Cage has given us laughable moments and other stuff. Like, I think
thought that was
valid.
a very good way of putting it. Yes,
and you know what? I'll even give you, by today's standard, an underrated actor, because back in the day, like with The Rock and 8mm and other stuff, like he had good movies, and he either won or was nominated for an Oscar. I think he won an Oscar in his early career. So like, but he's gone crazy, guys, and I'm sorry, like he's just not that good anymore, and he knows he's not that good. He admits it, and he's like, I take roles just for the money. Tom Hanks, on the other hand, has had duds, but overall has had more.
He also gave us Chet Hanks, which is a negative.
That's. I don't think he's that bad, is he?
I think you should bleep that out, Preston, so Alex isn't beholden to that comment. He's an awful person.
Is he? Okay.
Yes.
Is he? I'm sorry. I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of his other son.
Because his other son's an actor.
Yes, and he is, by all intents and purposes, just a regular person.
I didn't know. I didn't know he had two sons, so that's on me.
Chet Hanks is the dude who pretends to have a Jamaican accent. And has lots of opinions about race.
Oh. Yeah, I'll take that comment back. That's my bad. I didn't understand.
Reach out and grab that one and bring it right back.
That's my bad on that one. But like Tom Hanks as a whole, like he's had a solid career.
Sure.
From then till now, you have Big, you have Turner and Hooch, then you have Saving Private Ryan. Like you have movies. Yeah. Like he has Catch Me If You Can. Like he's got great movies. So I will, just for this podcast.
Forrest Gump not on the list? Damn, man.
Just for this
Castaway?
podcast.
High Fire.
You guys are proving my point. Thank you. I will, before we record next, I will watch both National Treasure and the Da Vinci Code.
I'll do that with you. Yes. Not together, but like I'll also do that.
Yeah. Yes. I'll watch both of them, and we can talk about this. They're not the same. Maybe the movies are closer than I think. I doubt it.
Very similar, but not the same as the.
But it's insane to put them on the same quality as actors. I'm sorry.
So here's the thing. I'm the opposite. It was like the actor thing. I'll let other people talk. I know I don't care. Like I'm not like
sure
that I can't. You know, I'm not gonna go back and forth about the quality of their acting. I just don't think those movies are similar at all. I can't, like, if whenever I'm thinking of the Da Vinci Code, I never once in my brain have ever been like, man, I love a good movie like the Da Vinci Code. Let me go look for a copy of National Treasure to get the same vibe that I'm going for here.
I don't think they are either. I don't think they are either.
Yeah. I'll watch them too.
But I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it for posterity's sake.
I'll do it too.
Well, that doesn't mean, just because they came out at the same time doesn't mean that, like, you know, does that mean that every movie that released in 1990 with Jurassic Park was like Jurassic Park?
Did they come out at the same time?
I said they might have. I don't know off the top of my head. I would assume, but like I couldn't tell you. I think I made the comparison.
National Treasure was 2004.
And?
So.
Da Vinci was?
Da Vinci Code was actually after 2006.
Okay.
There you go. So National Treasure beat it to the market.
So Da Vinci Code ripped off a National Treasure. Good to know. All right, moving on. I had one little thing I wanted to get your guys' comment on. I'm sorry, Alex, did you have something?
No. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Michael. Shout
out to Mikey.
Nintendo has put a little teaser for the Switch 2. Confirming what they've been leaking for the past year or so. We got a small amount of details on it. I have a couple questions about, do you guys some predictions and the like? The only thing that they really showed us was that it's a little bit bigger. The Joy-Cons attach, most likely magnetically. And then we also have different stand, things of that nature. There's nothing super duper crazy as far as the details on it, just more of the look of it, the feel. It's more of a vibes trailer, if you will. There was a couple
trailer.
Yeah. It was an unnecessary trailer, is what it is, because we are going to get the full reveal in April. At the very beginning of April, we'll get the full reveal, which I'm assuming will have date, price, and game launch lineup. But this is the same thing they did for the Switch 1. They unveiled it. A handful of months later, they gave us the big trailer, which is going to be the same one we'll get in April, I'm assuming, for Switch 2. And then if they follow the same kind of procedure, we will probably get it in June, but they did say 2025. But let's go through, I think, some predictions. What do you guys think on pricing and the like? What do you guys think about launch lineup? Obviously, they showed a little bit of a Mario Kart, which is not Mario Kart 8, so we're obviously going to get a new Mario Kart. Shout outs to at AOL account for that grab on the League. That was a good grab. Yeah, what do you guys think? Pricing? What do you guys think is going to be the launch lineup?
What's the current price? $249?
$249, I think, is what the normal Switch is going for now. I personally think, and I saw that on the article as well from, was it Polygon? Yes, that the Steam Deck is currently set at, also $249 for the lowest base model? Or maybe $300. So I don't think they're going to go over the Steam Deck base model, because then we'll get comparisons to it.
Yeah, I don't think they pass 300. I wouldn't be surprised if they stay at 250 and drop the other to 199 or 229, but I don't think they go over 300.
I think 300 is a good bet.
I think that I'll go a little bit high. I think they're going to go 399.
Wow, maybe really?
4? Okay.
Yeah, so the reason I say that is because, or maybe 350, but they'll probably be between 350 399. The reason I say that is, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure I don't think that Nintendo has ever sold a console at a loss.
Okay, yeah.
And
people buy Nintendo.
Obviously, we're not kind of this kind of podcast, so we're not going to get into it. But things are going to be happening very shortly that are going to be making things very expensive, that especially in the electronics area. And I gotta believe that that's going to hit the manufacturing of the Switch 2. And it's going to make that price go up. I think they're going to be at $350, $399. And it'll be very interesting to see. I mean, it's a Switch 2. To be quite honest, they could sell this thing at fucking $499 and people are going to go buy it. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be $350, $399. I think just based off of. Okay. And I don't think they've ever sold anything at a loss before. And with prices going up, I think that they're going to end up having to increase what it is.
The thing I'm most interested in is A, how much bigger is it? Because it seemed bigger, but they didn't show. And B, how do those Joy-Cons attach? And what does that magnet feel like? Because I also think it's magnetic, but they can't just be magnetic, because over time that's going to create stress and strain, and there's pressure points there where you could accidentally pop them off. So I'm interested to see how that specifically works.
For sure, yeah.
But also the size.
Going along with that, the Joy-Cons also have an optical, like a mouse. So I'm curious to see what they plan on doing with that. Can you guys
tell me, everybody is freaking out on Reddit of the Joy-Cons gotta be a mouse and blah, blah, blah. What? Why should I care? Is it for like, oh, you can use it as a mouse on your device and on your computer, and maybe there's a browser built in, or is it like, oh, maybe there's a hidden technology that Nintendo's going to Nintendo and we don't know.
We're excited about. I think you could wish and dream that they're going to bring back Mario Paint, or like either do like a new Mario Paint. But what I think it's going to be mainly for is something like Mario Maker, where you can actually use that to kind of put things on a map and stuff like that. Kind of like what because the Wii U had like the pad, so you could do that through there. But this will let you do it to where you can kind of place things with the mouse optical, maybe for possible like shooters like Splatoon, or. And this is a question for you guys. There's been rumors that they're putting Halo Master Chief Collection on here. Do you think that's actually going to happen?
Man, so here's the thing.
Before Christian answers, let me just say
this. I want to say, because I was going to answer to Alex.
Optical.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the optical thing is it's a new piece of, or it's a feature that Nintendo's going to Nintendo and make it so that it's fun. Yeah. For sure that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. That would be cool. Let me just say, I do not care if Master Chief Collection comes to Nintendo.
Same.
If it does, great. Unless it's going to be available in our Fantasy Critic League, at which point I'm all for it, and all of my money will be going to that. I just want to put everybody on notice now. If it's available on the Fantasy League,
I don't know if
that's
where
all of
that.
all of my money goes.
It's a bold prediction, or that's a bold thing to do, because the problem that you're going to get is that
online
port
play.
Well, not only that, but that port is going to be miserable. Now,
I don't know. Depending on the hardware, could be.
Well, so you say that up until you remember that Halo 2 got a full remaster, like a full remake, on that.
Yeah.
On that thing. So, do I think the older versions of those games would run well on the Switch? Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially on the Switch 2, I think that you'd be able to probably get Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, and Reach to run at a smooth 60. I think that when you start looking at 2 Remake, I don't know, man.
Now, there's no concrete evidence of what we have as far as tech specs, but people are pretty much saying that, like, the rumors are it's going to be like PS4 type of like tech specs as far as like, what kind of performance it can put out. So if it's something like that, then yeah, it could run it.
Well, so yeah, we say that, but here's the thing: is that if you think about it, when Master Chief Collection launched, and it was on the Xbox One, it already was running into performance issues with the console it was designed for, and the PS4 is the same thing. So that's what I mean is that I think that it would be a huge get for Microsoft, or a huge get for Nintendo, and it really solidifies that partnership going forward. And it just makes it makes that Switch a better offering, right? Because then it's just Nintendo fans are getting more things to finally play. So there's that piece of it. I just think that for the League portion, there's a very real chance that port could get hammered critically, because everyone's gonna be like, this game has been out for 10 fucking years. Why does it run like shit?
I mean, I say go for it, Alex, because I mean I got some counter picks I need to take care of anyways. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a fact. God, I just thought about how the online, how is that even going to work with Switch Online?
Well, that's what I said. The online play is going to be the worst.
Oh God.
I'm excited about the Switch too, honestly. Like, I like my Switch. The thing that prevents me from playing it more is that it's not made for giant American hands. And I even had to buy like the bigger Joy-Cons, and it's still like not great for my hands. So like as a travel console, that was why I was replaced by the Steam Deck. Not to mention the Steam Deck can do a little more, but like I enjoy my time with the Switch. I think a bigger one would be nicer. And they made little updates that needed to be made, like the kickstand. Not everybody uses it in that mode, but like it's way better than that little weird flappity flap they have now that falls off all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I like it wasn't really a shot, but like it kind of is a shot at the thing of like, oh, it's backward compatible, right? Like,
which is more of a it better be kind of deal, because you're porting all these older games like from the Wii U and stuff like that. Like, if you're gonna do those ports, like you better make it back. And if you're calling it Switch 2, yes, it needs to be backwards compatible. But I think this. I
guess you're on PlayStation 4, and not everything there is, or 5, and not everything there is backward compatible, and they've kept the same name, so nothing says you have to.
No, so but Nintendo is not one who usually makes a sequel console, right? Like
right.
none of them have been the two. It's been Mario, Nintendo, and Super Nintendo. It's been Wii and Wii U, but nothing has ever been like the sequel to. But you could say it has been for those other ones.
It won't be a day one purchase for me. Unless for some reason like I find some crazy deal in my existing Switch that allow me to trade it and get it for cheap. Like it's not a day one. From a strictly like selfish and joking standpoint, like the only thing I'm excited about is that a lot of our fantasy league picks are based on the potential of new Nintendo games coming out, and those will only come out if we have a console to sell it with, right? And push it. So from that standpoint, I'm excited. I'm glad it was finally announced.
Yeah, my thing is like I don't mean to be this negative Nancy about it because truly the Switch, just like the first one, I will buy a Switch 2 eventually. The thing that kills me is it's like, you know, all this talk about the hardware stuff and whatever. It's like, yeah, but all it says in my brain is like, yep, all of Nintendo's games are going to run great. Everything's probably going to look really nice. It's all going to be awesome. Except for Pokemon, who Game Freak is going to not take advantage of that new power. It's still going to run like shit. And everyone's going to have to go, yep, skip this next one because it's sitting here running at 5 FPS and doesn't work right. But
people buy it.
So apparently that's why Z and A keep like there's no release date and it's still getting pushed back is because internal testing says that it's playing like shit. And I was reading that the other day because Z&A is one, or Z-A, whatever they're calling it, is one of my picks in the league. And it was just like, yep, everybody working on it internally says like still runs like trash and they can't get some things to work. And
it's game for, and the problem is that Nintendo, like the easy thing to say is like, oh, it's Nintendo's fault. Like it's because of the Switch or whatever it is, but it's not. Like,
you've seen Monster
this is
Hunter
the one
Rise.
time. This is the one time I will say that it's not Nintendo's fault because exactly to your point, Preston. Monster Hunter Rise runs at a locked frame rate on the original Switch. Now, yes, does the RE engine take blood sacrifices to make games run perfectly? Yes, children, we all know that. Capcom is killing people to make games run perfectly. We know this. We've accepted that. That's fine. But it is insane to me that you look at a game like that and look at how well and perfect it runs and how good that game looks, especially in motion, and then you cut to a game that has basically a fourth of the activity going on the screen and have it run 8 times worse. Like it's Game Freak's fault. They keep doing this, and at a certain point they got to stop getting away with it. But yeah, in my head, it was the Switch. I saw the Switch 2. I was like, yeah, it looks cool. And I was like, too bad the next Pokemon game is going to run like garbage. Still, they could put a jet engine in that thing, and Game Freak would still find a way to get sub 30 frames.
Until people stop buying it, they're not going to change anything. Like, well, people still.
I still haven't bought Violet.
Oh, same.
And
yeah, but
whatever, Violet and whatever.
Scarlet and Violet.
Scarlet and Violet, yeah. I still haven't bought it, even though there's been times where I've thought about it. Because I'd be like, man, I want to go back to a Pokemon. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
No, can't do it. They didn't fix it. But, all right. Unless you got anything else you want to add to the Switch's details or your predictions for it. I mean, obviously Mario Kart's happening. Metroid Prime is going to be on there. I think Metroid Prime will be one of those like cross-generational ones like Zelda usually is, to where it's like, we're putting it out on both because we told you it would come out on the Switch 1, but we're also putting on Switch 2 and it'll run better at a better frame rate and better graphic setting.
I think a lot of games at first are going to do that because Nintendo's going to...
Yeah, and the install base they have, they're not going to walk away from that money.
Yeah.
So here's...
Except for Mario Kart 8, because they know it'll sell.
Here's the other thing that I think is actually what's going on with the Switch 2 with the fucking thing.
Joy-Con.
Oh, yeah, but the mouse portion, like the optical laser part. I think that, which this is going to piss me off, but so Metroid Prime Remaster came out on the Switch 1. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic. I played it. It was great. Metroid Prime 2 and 3 are both games that were released on the Wii, not the GameCube, and so they have motion controls in them. Rather than just ripping the motion controls completely out and then just doing only gyro aiming, like was how Metroid Prime 1 was, the remaster was, I guarantee you they're going to use that optical piece in that controller, and we're going to get Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remaster at some point, either before or after Metroid Prime 4. I would hope before, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, we'll find out in April. So, all
right. I have a question.
Yeah.
I was gonna wait till we did our weeks and just ask this as a little topic for a side quest here. It doesn't have to be very long, but since you brought it up, I'll bring it up now. I wanted to ask you all how you felt, and maybe you don't have strong feelings, but about the rumors of Xbox's pretty exclusive games coming to other platforms. Master Chief Collection being one, but I know there was a few other that's been stated recently. But coming to both PlayStation,
things like that.
Yeah, coming to like PlayStation and Nintendo. What do you think that says about like the way their business model is going, and how do you feel about that stuff just in general?
I think that we're going to see. I think that it's just what we've talked about before. I think that Microsoft is transitioning to being a software company.
They'll still put out a box, but they are refocusing mainly on software because they spent so much money on software companies. Yeah. So they need to focus on those to be able to put it out to show that they're doing something with the money that they spent. But Microsoft is Microsoft. Then, they can afford to put out another box if they wanted to.
I even think my personal opinion is that we probably have. This is just a bet. I don't know. I think we probably have one more box out of Microsoft.
Possible.
And then after that, I think they're going to be done. Because every single time, all we hear from them is, everything around you is an Xbox. Yeah. Your TV is an Xbox. Your Switch is an Xbox. Your fridge is an Xbox. Like, they just never stop. And I think that you're just watching them. Microsoft has always been a software company. Like... Yeah. They every single chance they get in any other aspect of the tech market, they get out of the hardware game. Phones, they got out. Computers, they got out. Like this, I think there's still only one kind of Surface. I think
they still make the Surface Book, don't they?
Right. I think that's it though.
You might be right. Yeah.
I think it's the only. I think they only make the Surface Book now, and even then, I don't think that they have one. I don't think they've had a refresh of that in a little while. I don't know for sure, but every single chance they get, they pull out of the hardware game. They removed all of their physical stores. I mean, like there's Microsoft stores don't even exist anymore. Like there's 3. I think there's one in Chicago, one in London, and one in. I think there's
maybe New York or something. There's not many. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, maybe New York, I think, but that's it. Like, there's nowhere, or no, maybe it's in LA or in California. I don't know. Either way, there's only 3 stores I think left, and they shut every single one of the other ones down. Like, they're becoming a software company, but I think that they
a software company.
Yeah.
Do you think? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask. Do you think, though, this transition helps them or does nothing? Like, you think they would only make a decision that helps them produce better games, but it seems to me that they're looking to instead open up their games to a wider base to pay for the acquisitions they've made, not necessarily support a better catalog and a better experience.
I think it's both, right? Like, I think that right now they're just trying to keep their head above water for all the money they spent. And so getting something like Halo on a Switch makes sense because, you know, it's a whole other player base that otherwise would have never experienced that product. So, you know, maybe it does gangbusters there, whatever. Same thing with Hi-Fi Rush going to other places, different things like that. But I think the real thing is what they're hoping is if they put their biggest and best titles out there and put them on other platforms, it then converts people into being Game Pass subscribers.
But data has shown that's not true.
No,
they're hemorrhaging Game Pass subscribers.
Yeah, right but the only reason that is because is right now they don't have a good pipeline of games going in there, right? So that's one. But 2, you hit the point where everybody who had Game Pass played through all the games that were on Game Pass, and then they stopped. Yeah. Like, there was always going to be a finite amount. So that's why you're trying to reach new people who haven't played those games before. If you grab fans that have only been Nintendo and fans that have only been PlayStation forever and ever and ever, and then all of a sudden now they experience one of the tentpole franchises. And then they find out, oh, well, you know, my fucking phone's an Xbox now. Or, you know, whatever, right? Like the dumb shit that they've been doing. But now all of a sudden you've got that person paying $15 a month and now they've got another 800 titles or whatever the hell insane amount is actually in Game Pass now.
It was like
to go through.
It was like 480, I think, is what it said a second
ago. Yeah. Like it's a lot.
It's just going to be interesting. I think with Nintendo, they have the best opportunity at grabbing share because of the demographic of people that play Nintendo games. Oftentimes, like, yes, there are people like us that have every console, but there are plenty of Nintendo people that only have Nintendo consoles and play Nintendo games. I think it's going to be much harder on a PlayStation side, where they also offer their own ecosystem and their own streaming service, their own cloud-based experience. With somebody bought in there to say, come play this Xbox game and convert, I think you're going to see a much less attrition coming from that side.
For sure. I honestly, I think especially with like how tight things are about to get monetarily for a lot of people, I think that you're not going to see people make that jump, period. But I think that, I think that you're just going to see, it's not going to, like, I don't think it'll really move the needle that much, but I think it's the gamble that Microsoft is betting on. Because they want, and to be honest, they're now with this acquisition, like when the next Call of Duty comes out, or when Black Ops 6 came out, as a matter of fact, all that money went to Microsoft. Like, it doesn't matter where somebody bought that game, whether it was on PC, whether it was on Xbox, or whether it was on PlayStation, all that money funneled to them anyway.
Same with whatever happens with the next Elder Scrolls and.
Yep. So. Yeah. So I think that it's going to be one of those things. That being said, I think that it's weird to see them in this spot because, like, I don't know. I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you think in the next 3 to 5 years, right? I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't put a timeline on it. When Phil leaves, do you think he's going to leave the hero that he was years ago?
No, he's already a villain.
He's already
I was
down.
going to say,
yeah.
Well, and not just a villain, right? But, like, do you think it'll go from, like, look at these acquisitions and the potential for success to just, like, well, that amounted to nothing that we thought. Now we're, like you said, they're not trying to keep their head above water, but in the gaming industry, I mean, they're laying off people like crazy. They're trying to find a hit that they haven't been able to find. Like,
yeah.
Will they just be flailing by the time he leaves?
I think that by the time I think from a financial standpoint, I'm sure they'll be doing just fine because again,
Windows.
That after 2 years of getting all of the revenue from people's WoW subscriptions, this acquisition will be close to paying for itself. Like that's just the reality.
Not to mention all the Call of Duty money that happens every year, no matter how good or bad the game is.
Yep.
Right. So like you've got all of the Call of Duty money coming through. You've got every single WoW retail sub plus WoW Classic sub. You've got all of that stuff just funneling in month over month over month. From a financial perspective, they're going to do just fine. Like that acquisition of being allowed to go through made it so that Microsoft Game Studios will never die. That being said, I think from a culture perspective of like how people view them, he will be leaving as a villain that amounted to nothing. Like,
yeah.
But from a financial perspective, I'm sure everybody, like the CEO of Microsoft, is going to be like, "Hey, great job, dude! You got the deal done, and we make money now."
It was scary, but we made it.
Yep, awesome. Like, but yeah, from a culture perspective, how people view them, I think that it'll be completely negative, probably.
Yeah.
And people already view them negatively now. Like
it's pretty sour at the moment.
Yeah.
I have one other comment before we move on, not related to this. I just want to say, Christian, pour one out for your homie that makes Citizen Sleeper, who announced that Citizen Sleeper 2 will be his final game as he devotes all of his time to make Citizen Sleeper a tabletop game reality. So,
which
no more
we
video games
will
for
be
him.
playing on the show, I guarantee.
He said, yeah, two is it for him. He's always wanted to do a tabletop game, and that's where his full attention is going now.
And he actually has a solo tabletop game that's already out that he worked with some people on it. I'm still waiting on mine. Fucking UK shipping issues, but that makes sense. I mean, the game is basically like a single player TTRPG anyway, so it's like Yeah, that's all right. Hey, look, I got In Other Waters is great. Citizen Sleeper 1 is great. I'm sure I'm gonna love 2.
Yeah.
So.
I just saw the news the other day and I was like, oh, that'd be good for them. That's sad.
Hey, you know what?
That's a good game. Yeah.
Hey, quit while you're on top. I get it.
Yeah,
Do your
there
thing.
you go. Do what you love and quit while you're on top.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You made 3 bangers. Move on.
Nice. All right. So let's get into our weeks then. Who wants to start things off?
I can start.
I can go. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
All right. Star Wars Sundays. We did Super Bombad Racing, which is a Star Wars kart game on the PS2. Was a little worried at first the day before I was testing everything out, getting the layout going, and it wouldn't load. It said discrete error. I'm like, oh, fucking great. Because I know, hey, every time I get a used game, when I get home, I put it in the system to make sure it runs. They've all run. I think the Warrior Within is the only one I had like the most issues with. But everything else has been working fine. But yeah, it's we played that day. I went through all the courses and everything. Played it a bunch. It's a fine racer. It is not a good racer. It is not a great game. It is definitely something that they just like, hey, episode 1 came out. We're making all sorts of crazy shit because merchandising when episode 1 happened was insane compared to everything else Star Wars. Because we haven't had Star Wars in a while, so they made everything under the sun, which includes a kart racer. We haven't seen a kart racer for Star Wars since then, for good reason. It was fine. I think it is insane that you have to unlock the circuit mode by playing the courses first, and then it unlocks the circuit for those 3 courses. So you can't just go through and play through the courses. You have to play through those 3 courses, and then it opens the circuit mode, which all it really does is start a playlist for those 3 courses, and they changed like the final end screen, like when you win, to just adding a trophy next to like you being the winner. So there's no pedestals that you're all standing on waving at the crowd. There's nothing like that. It's just, okay, well, people will want a circuit mode, but I just think it's crazy that you just don't start off with those circuits. I get unlocking other levels. You want to play through the other ones, get rank 1 through 3 at least. I'm fine with that. I get that, but having to unlock a circuit mode, especially for the very first circuit, like, yes, give me 1 circuit. I'll play through that circuit to unlock the second one. I get that, but that didn't even happen. I played through the circuit 1. It did not give me circuit 2. I had to play through the first level in circuit 2 to be able to unlock the rest of those courses and then get circuit 2. It's insane.
You just say it was a bad game, dude. It's okay.
It's not a great game.
It's
a fun game. You will not. Yep, that's the most you're gonna get. A fine game to Preston might as well be a 3 out of 10.
I was able to play it. It was not broken. It worked out just fine. There was things I did like about it, like the little chibi characters are fine and all. Those are cute. And then like the kart remixes of classic John Williams like episode 1 songs was kind of funny and fun. But other than that, like mine did not come with a manual, and that game does not have any onboarding, period. Like, there's a control section, but fuck if I know what any of those item pickups were because they weren't imaged, or the images of them weren't after something in the Star Wars universe, so it wasn't like a proton torpedo. It wasn't like anything like that to where it's like, oh, I know exactly what this item is. Nope. It's an image of something. I'm going to press the button and find out what this little guy does. Then we kind of went from there. I had fun. Got top 3 in all the tracks. No big deal. I unlocked Boba Fett to play as it. I had a fun time with it. It was a good day. I don't know if I'll ever play that game again. I don't think I will. Unless we get a wild hair and people want to play with me. I'm never playing that game again. Who knows? Maybe I'll be the speedrunner for it and go to AGDQ and do Bombad Racing.
Hey, man.
Hey, right now, you'll be the only one, so every speedrun you do will be
I'm sure there's someone out there who speedruns it. If it's like the Rule 34, if it exists, there's a speedrun for it, right?
Preston, I don't know about you, but I don't think that's the Rule 34.
It's close to it. It's pretty close to it. I did play at the end of that stream, because it wasn't a full 2 hours, I did play a little bit of the original Jedi Power Battles, because I wanted to get a little taste of the original, because I haven't played it since, grade school. And I wanted to, okay, if we're going to play Jedi Power Battles next week, I want to taste the original. I want to see and feel the difference when it happens. So, played Played a little bit of that. That game is fucking rough. It is very hard. You cannot move during your combos. So if you're attacking one person and you want to turn around, you got to stop attacking, move your character, and then attack again. It's a rough game. So I'm really hoping they do some good things with this remaster, because I told myself that if the remaster's garbage, because Aspyr is known to not make great ports, they did great with Bounty Hunter. So I'm curious to see what they do with this one. They did not do well with the Battlefront 1 and 2 classics. So I'm curious to see how it does. Like I said in my chat, I'm like, hey, I do a 2-hour stream. If I don't like this game during my 2-hour stream, I am able to refund that money to me through Steam. So we'll see how it goes. And if we don't like that, I may try to play it through the PlayStation, the original disc I have, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. As far as my main games, there's been a little bit of a battle for my time, which is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Final Fantasy VII Remake. My Game Pass subscription is coming to an end because I only paid for it for 1 month, so I can see and play the Indiana Jones game. It's fun. I like it. It looks great. As far as presentation and story, I think it's incredible. Preston is not a fan of stealth things. And this has you sneaking around a lot of Nazis. So, I was kind of brute forcing it through most of the play. I turned the combat and stuff down, to easy, so that okay, let's just tone this down so I can get through the story. And I'll keep the puzzles as they are, because the tomb diving is very fun, right? Got to a section to where I needed to go to a Nazi encampment area, to where I got to go into the commander's office or whatever. What you got to do is you got to sneak in. You got to be able to lower the flag, so that way it's a signal for them to do some distractions over here, so you don't have to deal with as many Nazis going up to that little office or whatever. Pull down the flag. I'm like, okay, how do I get over there? I'm kind of scoping everything out. I'm doing the stealth thing, because it's not that bad if I'm doing well, but if Preston's not doing well, he gets pissy and doesn't want to play it anymore. So I see, okay, well, I see this good spot over there. There's a zip line kind of thing going towards the office, really close to it. So I'm like, you know what? I'll make my way. It's a little bit further, but I'll make my way. There's less people, right? I'm doing this. I get close to where I need to be. A bunch of Nazis see me, and I'm kind of fucked if I just, try to continue. I will die. So I hit restart checkpoint. Go try to do the whole same thing again. Get to the zip line. Everything's fine. Apparently the checkpoint was right before I pulled down the flag. So my checkpoint is to run all the way back there, sneak back, pull down the flag, then go all the way back up. I didn't do that. I didn't want to do that. So a lot of my time has been with Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I am surprised to say that I am enjoying it quite well.
Really quick before you go to that on the Indiana Jones thing, do you think, do stealth games, when you get spotted and shit, all that stuff goes crazy, right? And then, do you mind stealth games in general if, Hitman, right? It's you got spotted, but then the game just gives you endless opportunities to...
You can run away, hide somewhere else.
Get your way out of it, right? Well, not even just that, right? Because that's just putting you back in a stealth mode. But, sure. I'm thinking, when we did the Metro playthrough, right? Where, you get spotted by something, it's all right, time to go loud, and then you just, you shoot everything in front of you. Does it bother you if that happens, or is it just
a lot of the... I played a good chunk of that game. I'm over 10 hours in Indiana Jones. I want to come back to it. My Game Pass is expiring. I don't think I'm going to finish it by that time. I will go back to it one of these days. The issue I ran into is that I didn't mind it, because a lot of times you'd have 2 or 3 guys. I could just be okay, they caught me. I'm going to beat the shit out of all these guys. We're going to go punch in. We're going to go in all fists. And that has been fine for me, because the combat in it is pretty good as far as the brawling combat. And sure. I don't die very easy because I put the combat difficulty down. I didn't mind that at all. I'm like, okay, we're caught. Let's start fighting. We're fine with it. This area, if you get caught, they will alert all of the Nazis in the camp, who will then...
Which might as well be an instant fail.
It is an instant fail. I've tried running away. They will chase you throughout, and you have stamina for your sprint. So you will stop sprinting. They will catch up to you. You will get shot. It will be game over. So I tried. I'm like, let's just run away real quick into some corner, see if I can hide. No, they will find you in that corner. As soon as they get the exclamation that's red, you're done. Now, if it's just one person, not a big deal. If it's 15 Nazis and you're trying to be quiet and sneaky, it's not going to work out for you. So it is a good game. I probably will end up going back to it before the end of the year. But as far as right now and the subscription going up, I'm not worried about rushing into it. I don't want to rush into it. Because I've been having a lot of fun with Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a pretty damn good game. I really like the combat in it. Now, there are some things about the combat I don't like. I did have a question for you who have played it. So I'm playing it on like only the normal mode. I didn't change anything down to like the simpler versions. My teammates are not boosting up their ATB gauges, like their skill essentially. So like I'm constantly having to switch to them to do some actions because they're not doing their actions often enough for me to get like their moves, their spells, their abilities out. Much like Cloud, to where it's like I'm sitting there swinging away, I'm getting that bar to build up pretty quickly, and no one else is doing that as well. I'm like, okay, well I gotta move to Tifa to like have her punch a whole bunch so she can use her ice spell. And I gotta use Barrett because I want to do one of his heavy like range attacks, and I know that there's another option to be like, okay, you don't control the other characters. Does that change any of that at all, or is it still slow because you're not playing as them?
No, it's still slow because you're not playing as them. Like you'll still.
But I never had an issue with them loading though. Like when you didn't play as them, they still got their gauge.
But not nearly as quickly as you, and sometimes I feel like it took a
pretty long
time.
So the what's happening there is the game you switching between characters is how you're supposed to play it. Like you're supposed to like
fast-paced fighting.
Yeah,
fight like Cloud, get the abilities out. Once his ATB gauge is down, switch to somebody else, build their ATB gauge up. I guess, yeah.
And sometimes you might not have to, right? Like it depends on the kind of enemies that you're seeing, right? Like if it's all a bunch of ground enemies, then you can just do it with Cloud and then just
That's
have.
What I've kind of been doing, yeah.
Right, but like
unless
if you see a flying
stuff, yeah.
Right,
Tifa
if you see
a cooler moveset, to be fair.
Yeah, Tifa's a good example. Like her and Cloud are both characters that can just do whatever, and deal with most things. But when you have enemies that are super weak to magic and super weak to range or whatever, that's when you want to switch to other characters because you're trying to build up that stun gauge, like stagger, as fast the break meter or the stagger meter is quickly as possible. So no, it's how it's working as intended. It's just
other question about the combat. When it comes to blocking, I'm assuming there's no actual like parry. Because there might be a parry. They might have done that to where like if you block it properly at the right time, you get like some type of special defense.
I think.
But when it comes to the combat,
I think that's in Rebirth. I don't think that's in Remake.
Is that like should you be using the block a whole lot or like not very often? Okay, because I don't use it very often. I'm usually going and swinging balls to the wall. Until I got to some enemies, I'm like, okay, I obviously need.
Although I think Cloud has it actually might be in regular Remake. I think Cloud has a stance. There's a certain stance that you
Operator
can switch to him.
and Punisher stance, yeah.
Yeah. One of them does have a parry. You might want to double check.
Okay.
I know it doesn't in Rebirth for sure, but
with the parrying or the dodging and the blocking of the combat, I don't feel like I'm doing very well. I'm not sure if that's just not the greatest as far compared to other games, or if it's just I'm not doing it right. That's my worry.
I would say column A, column B. Like I think that you do want to be blocking more. Like it's like when you see certain things coming at you, you definitely want to block to like redo some of that damage or get out of the way, like with the roll or whatever. That being said, it's also a little clunky in Remake. Okay. So
I thought like while playing this, I'm like, man, that remake for KOTOR, this combat system would not be the worst idea or the thing they could put forth for that, because you're still kind of the same thing. Towards I think something new KOTOR, I don't think you want to have just like, I'm going to press the attack button, he goes attacks. I'm like, no, you want to have like fun, engaging combat with it. Then you have your other teammates to where you can either bounce to or just give commands to. I think that would be a great idea for the KOTOR remake, if they kind of utilize a system like this into there. But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. The story is good. I mean, it's the same. It's mostly the same story with like slight changes or additions to it that kind of make it a different feel. So it's not the same all the way through. Like we mentioned beforehand, the ghost, that one soldier guy, which is not in the first one, things like that. So that's in it. I finished up the Honeybee Inn section last night.
Yeah,
I was giggling. I love that section so much. Like Aerith getting like excited and giddy for him like to like dance and like show off and stuff like that. Like I was giggling because how funny that is. And how unexpected some of those things were for a story that I already knew about and have played through on the older version. Very, very good. I am surprised at how much I like this game, so I'm very excited to kind of go through and finish it. I am like 15 hours into it. I'm over 15 hours, so like I'm over halfway point because I'm at chapter 10 or 11 out of
17.
18.
I think you're getting there.
Yeah. So, also fought the Hell House. I thought that was a very funny kind of way of bringing it up. A very cool way of bringing it up. I'm just overall thrilled that I'm glad that I just gave it the chance because I'm having a lot of fun with it. You guys both liked it, didn't you? Alex, did you play it? I'm pretty sure you played it, right?
Yeah, I played it. I enjoyed my time with it and thought it was absolutely stunning to look at.
It's gorgeous. Like
was,
animation and the story animation and stuff like that too are just really good.
7 is not one of the stories that I'm as deeply familiar with as like 9, 10, right? Some of those others. So yeah, I enjoyed my time with it well enough. I still thought some of the changes they updated were weird. I had the intent to go back and play it on hard because I wasn't that far off from a platinum at the time.
Okay.
I just never did. But tomorrow, I think, is when the second one comes to PC, and I've been thinking about picking that up because I did enjoy my time with the first one. I kind of want to run through the second one too.
Hey man, I wouldn't hate it if it popped up in the Family Clan. If you want, I'll toss you halvesies on it and we can go half and half on it. But yeah, as far as games, that's all I've really played outside of the game book club we'll talk about later. It's like, what are you shooting yourself for? Because
I hate Rebirth so much.
You didn't hate, yeah, I remember that.
No, Remake. Honestly, Remake is good. I think that they did a good job.
Wait, Rebirth is the new one that
you're the one that's coming to PC. Yeah, gotcha. Rebirth is the one that I really dislike.
Yeah,
okay.
But I think, again, just like with everything else, I think that you guys absolutely, especially Preston, if you're enjoying it, I think that this, especially with how you played 16, this clearly is how you have to experience Final Fantasy games, just period.
Pretty action games. Christian has to now preface everything so he doesn't kick another hornet's nest of the Final Fantasy Rebirth. 7 Rebirth.
No, because that I did that whole rant and we were fine. So
that's true.
I'm not, and I honestly, because I was able to really get my full thoughts on that one, I'm not worried about. I think people can
go back to that episode.
Yeah, you can go back to that episode. You can be very clear about what I feel about that game. I think that I didn't leave anything else on the table with that one.
There's one thing that I don't like. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Are you continuing?
No, I was gonna say I think you guys totally should play through it yourselves and see what you think.
Sure.
Especially you, Preston. If you're enjoying the first one that much, then absolutely keep going.
Because I've played.
What I'll say is, because I know you can just feel safe in skipping the side stuff. Like just go. Yeah. I'm sure Rebirth is a little bit better if you are not doing all the dumb side shit. Yeah.
I'm doing most of them on here because usually there's like 1 or 2 side things when you get to like
Remakes isn't bad.
Remakes isn't bad, yeah. I'll probably definitely skip a bunch of Rebirth stuff. One addition I'm not a big fan of. It's not the worst thing in the world, but Chadley.
Oh, I hate Chadley.
What reason at all do you feel like you need to have Chadley? First off, he's the only NPC who follows you as far as eyeballs and stuff. Like every NPC is standing around doing their own thing. Chadley will turn around and stare at you as you walk past him. So I'm like, you're fucking creepy, dude. Like
Christian and I talked about this a lot when
Preston, you were talking about Nomura's son, and that is you just need to, before the Square Enix hit squad comes for you, just be wary that you're talking about that man's child.
There's absolutely no reason to have it in there, and
dude,
I don't like
he
it.
Sticks out it's literally like, who's this fucking Kingdom Hearts character sitting in my fucking Final Fantasy? It's ridiculous.
I go to talk to him, and it's like 15 different like achievements within the game of like, you did this, you did that. I'm like, yeah, because I've been playing the game and getting weaknesses because I want to know how to fight them.
Everybody's biggest complaint. Yeah, everybody's biggest complaint about Remake was Chadley, and you know what they did? They said he needs to be an even more prominent character for Rebirth.
When Remake came out too, they gave him a materia for the Moogle that like you could only get. I think it was the Moogle. It might have been one of the others, but like you could only get by pre-ordering, and you could only use in those battles or some stupid bullshit they did. It was so dumb, so dumb.
I tried one VR battle. I'm like, I'm good. I'm all right. I don't need to do this again. Other than that, that's all the games, other than what we played, and we'll talk about later on this week. I did watch something new, Creature Commandos. I finally got around to watching on HBO. This is supposed to be like, James Gunn's first like official foray into the DC stuff outside of, Peacemaker and Suicide Squad that he did. He does bring those into canon as far as the story that's in them. I think the show is just all right. I really could give a fuck less about the story that they're kind of pushing forward on here. I think the only reason I'm kind of going into it is because I know that some of these characters may get put into some of his later movies or the DCU. So I kind of want to it's something I'll put in the background and kind of watch. Also, like the reason why I kept watching it a little bit is because this show is very heavily, not very heavily, this show has a lot of Gorgo Bordello music because I guess they're doing like an Eastern European kind of like country that they go to. And all of a sudden, like, they just do, like, music videos for Gorgo Bordello. Gorgo Bordello, the band, is in there when they do a flashback to, like, the 90s for The Bride of Frankenstein. So it's just like she's at a concert with them, and he's on stage, and he's, like, talking a little bit. And it's like, okay. Apparently James Gunn really likes Gorgo Bordello, or just found out about him before he made this show. It's like, I like this band. I'm going to fucking put a bunch of them in here.
Right on.
I was going to say that can't hit for many people, but to be fair, I bet you the entire audience watching the show is you.
And my age and demographic who've made
maybe it does. Maybe it hits for everybody.
Yeah, who knows? But I mean, hey, I appreciate it. Like, I love me some Gorgo Bordello. They start wearing purple during a fight scene. I'm like, all right, I'm singing along with this shit. Let's fucking go. Other than that, it is a very meh show. The animation is all right. They're using a lot of actors who are not voice actors. A lot of them are. Alan Tudyk is in there. Was it Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother? He's like does 2 voices in there. He does a great job. But like David Harbour as Frankenstein, it's not great. And some of the other voice actors, like the guy who does like the Commander guy Senior, like the leader of the Suicide Squad's dad, Rick Flag Senior, is played like Frank Grillo, who played Crossbones in the MCU. And that guy is not a voice actor. He's just 100% not a voice actor. He's fine because he's a good actor, but like, all right, guys, we get it. If you're gonna do an animated show, get voice actors in there. Like, you don't need the big names behind it because no one's gonna fucking see them or recognize their fucking voice.
It makes you wonder then if those are the specific ones they plan.
They want to play those characters in the movies, which was probably what they're doing. So it's fine. But yeah, other than that, that's my week.
I'll go next. Mine's quick. Sorry, Christian, you go last. I played. Mine's quick. I played Warhammer. I continue to be pro Warhammer gamer here.
Space Marine 2 specifically.
Space Marine 2. And I played, and the reason I was going to go next, because Christian, I'm sure, will talk more about this. I've been playing Path of Exile 2 with Christian and Travis. We made it to Act 3. I
with
respect
Travis?
Christian.
Or after Travis?
No, with Travis. Christian was nice enough to roll with me again. I wasn't loving my witch. I just couldn't get it down like I wanted to. So he was like, well, just roll a different character. And he ran through the entirety of Act 1 and got me all leveled up to where he was in a day. And yeah, we've been moving on from there. Nice. I've really enjoyed my time with it. It's good, but I don't have much more to say on it beyond the fact it's really good. It's still, there's things I need to do to make my warrior better. I need to look up an actual build and do some other stuff, but the reason I let Christian talk more is because I think the way he's leaning and the comparisons to Diablo 2 probably,
give him more to speak
on. Yeah, they give him more to speak on, right? But that's really it. Like, that's all that I've done. And then I played the game that we played. And that's it, man.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so Path of Exile 2, I really don't... there's not too much more to say other than, just for you, Preston, because I know that you've played some of these other games, I totally agree with the sentiment now that if the other 3... Like, when this game hits a full release, if the other 3 acts are just as polished and as good as the acts that are in the game now, it will be the best ARPG ever made. It will be better than Diablo 2. It's incredible. The way that they have everything.
It's not easy either. And like we haven't even, like, we're just on basic, right? And it's not easy.
We haven't done like the torment maps or anything like that. Yeah, it's insane. It's so fun. Everything is super satisfying. Every single enemy design is good. Like, and what's funny is part of it is just like they're kind of just doing Diablo 2 but in a new, fresh way. Like, Act 1 is you're in like a city/village area, like out, and there's like forests and other things that you're going through. Act 2 is a desert. Act 3 is a jungle. stop me if you've heard this before. Yeah. Like it's that kind of thing, right? But and sometimes the soundtrack is similar and all this other stuff, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but it's all high quality. Like it's good and it's what people want, and so it's like I kind of have a hard time. It's like, Blizzard was just recently one of the leads for Diablo 4 was in the news recently because they said something like, with Path of Exile 2 success, people are asking them like, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing, kind of thing. Even though I'm one of the people, I think their new expansion is good. Like I think the way that they've teed up everything, like that new expansion was good.
They're working to bring it. They're working to bring it to the Switch too, man.
Yeah, and it's a step in the right direction. The problem is that Path of Exile 2, as opposed to taking a step in the right direction, Path of Exile 2 took a rocket ship straight outside of the stratosphere and was like, let me just get there. And so it's like unless you specifically are attached to the story of Diablo, I have a hard time recommending it over Path of Exile. But
do you think that's the natural progression of a company like Activision and a franchise like Diablo, where you've been around so long, you're so big, you have to become more accessible? Which means
here's the thing: is that's the problem. Like that, I don't think it's that, and I don't think that it because that's what they ended up saying is they said that again, Blizzard, a company famous for telling people that they don't want classic World of Warcraft for 15 years, only to have millions upon millions of people still subscribed to classic World of Warcraft because they made it available and it makes them hand over fist money. So, just keep that in mind going forward. But what they did say was that they were like, yeah, when early on in Diablo 4, like we were trying to listen to player feedback and we, heard things that people just wanted Diablo 2 again, but better. But the truth is players don't want that. Like, we want it to be more accessible. We want it to be more open and all that other stuff. But here's the thing. Path of Exile 2 comes out, and it's the biggest thing ever in the ARPG space. And so it's like, well, do they, though? Because it seems like they don't. It seems like what players want is just Diablo 2, but better. Because guess what? Like, there's a reason...
It's breaking Steam records, too. Like, from just, all games. Like, just concurrent users and everything.
Yeah, there's a reason that people have said for the longest time that it's the best ARPG ever made. It's because it is. Like, it still held up even when I took you guys through it for the first book club game. Like, that's how good that game is. Like, the loop, everything is super satisfying. The story, how they handle things, it's all very satisfying. And there's a reason that it remained the top one forever. And so for them to come out and just have a blatant lie of being like, well, people just don't want that. And it's like, yeah, but they do, clearly. And you're wrong in every conceivable way. Honestly, if you like ARPGs at all and you've just been thinking to yourself like, man, I remember playing Diablo back in the day and I miss it, but just give Path of Exile 2 a try. There's nothing more to say. Or wait for it to come out. One of the two. You do either one, but just get to it eventually, give it a shot, and see what you think, because I absolutely have zero complaints about this game. Like, there's little things that I could nitpick that I think need some tuning, but also we're on version 0.11 of the game.
Yeah,
it's gonna get there.
It's like early access. It's fine.
Yep, it's gonna get there. So those little things, just people should submit feedback the way that you're supposed to, and it'll get bubbled up eventually.
They said they had to apologize for their long customer service wait times because they weren't getting back to people, but they also got 543,000 emails in a day.
Yep. And that's think about that's people who decided to actually leave feedback. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, there's not much more to say on it. It's great. People should play it. It's fantastic. The only other game I've played I've been playing Dynasty Warrior Origins. I'm almost towards the last chapter. I'm at the point, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm at the point where you're making decisions on who you're going to side with, kind of thing. For those who don't know, Dynasty Warriors is a series that's obviously, it's always been based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the feudal period in China.
Called that a Muso game.
Yes, I have a soft spot for these games because I played Dynasty Warriors 3 and 4 back on the PS2, when I was a child. And I love those games. They were fun, just little mindless little action games that you just run around and do things. And there's, nice little history things that you just, like, it is actually following a rough history of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Yeah. They embellish a little bit of it, obviously, to make it up for a game, but as far as the events, it is actually going through real world events, like the Yellow Turban Rebellion and all of that other stuff that makes up the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. The difference here is that they've completely rebooted the series, and they've started back from basically the original one, and they've done all new combat mechanics, all new story stuff. It is it's kind of crazy, and it's just been super high quality. I really dig it. There's a demo on Steam. If any of that sounds like it is interesting to you in whatever way, you should go check it out. It's brand new. The game has only been out for a week, so I'm not going to go too far into it. But the combat is so fun. Every single weapon that you get in that game, to choose for your play style, every single one of them is different. There's not a single one that's the same. They all have different combat mechanics, and all of them play differently. And so it's really fun to just experiment and figure out which one speaks to you. But they're all really cool. A lot of the series staple characters show up in different ways. It's been really fun with that. Like I said, it's way more story heavy than you would ever think. There's full on cutscenes, super long. You're going and finding out more about characters' backgrounds and doing little side missions with them, different stuff. It's really, really cool. So yeah, I've been super into it. Like I said, it's if any of it sounds cool, it's worth the demo. Like I said, it's free on Steam. I think they have a demo on PS4 or PlayStation and Xbox as well.
Yeah, I have a demo download. Just haven't touched it yet.
Yeah, it's good. And then for you guys, it's on our Steam family library, so you could just try it if you wanted.
Sure.
But yeah, it's cool. The other thing I've done is I've finally finished all of Secret Level.
Okay.
I finally went through and blew through all those episodes because Alexa finally confirmed that she did not feel like watching it anymore, and so I didn't have to wait for her. So I blew through them all in one day. Man,
That second half was just kind of wet fire. I don't care about any of these. I don't want any of these IPs, and it's not that great.
I gotta say, I really didn't care about most of them. I thought, Warhammer and Armored Core were my favorites. I thought the Pac-Man one was cool. Also,
Mega Man was good.
No, I see the thing that pissed me off about
it ended before anything good could have happened.
Yeah, the credits for that episode were longer than Mega Man.
Yep. Yeah,
that's fair.
They had the potential to do one cool thing. You didn't show something, and they were just power up, done. And it was that was a 4-minute episode where you cut off all the good stuff.
It looked like the first part of the first episode of a series right before they went to their first commercial break, and that's all we got.
If you put the intro for Secret Level and the credits for that episode together, I think they are absolutely longer than the Mega Man portion, which is a bummer. That being said, yes, I agree with in theory, the Mega Man one would have been cool, but again, it's you start it and it's over, and you're okay. I barely had time to settle into the couch and get my water before that episode was over. So yeah, all the other ones though, I was just okay, I guess it. One of them, I don't know what was the game that Exodus one was based off of. Do you know? Is it Eve Online or something, maybe?
I think there's actually a game for it. It's the same thing with the Schwarzenegger.
I thought they all had. Didn't they all have the game title as the title of the episode? That's what it is. For
the most part, yeah. That's what.
I've never heard of a game called Exodus, whatever, Afterlife or whatever it's called.
Let me look here.
That people play, but yeah.
A space flying game with. Yeah, I don't know. I've never. heard of it.
No. There is a game. News about Exodus. Former BioWare devs' new RPG Exodus will potentially... Yeah. So...
Oh, okay, so it's not out.
Okay. But it's a potential game, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
That was
this was
teaser?
4 days ago is what this is. Now, keep in mind, everybody, I'm doing a very quick Google, so if I have the wrong game, let me know.
Don't add him in the comments.
Yeah, but there's also a video here from one day ago. Exodus official, the Traveler's Creed gameplay, Exodus game. It was a space game. So yeah, I think it's
well, that's fine.
Unreal game that's coming.
There's a couple games I didn't know anything about. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I thought that episode was fine. I just was like, I don't know what this is. Yeah, so but it being unreleased is cool.
That's what I said about one of those other. And when you don't know about the game, you just don't care.
The one I knew was like there's the, I believe it was made in Korea, but it was a shooter called Crossfire that came out and then immediately got shut down because nobody cared. So then that one got a video, and I was like, God, I was like, this is pointless.
Man, like the Conquered one too.
Yeah, I skipped that one actually because I was like, there's just no reason. But, and man, you guys were not kidding. So one part that Alexa did watch with me was that final episode. What an awful, awful way to end. It's like Alexa, even when we were sitting there, she was like, "That's it. This is dumb." I was like, "Yeah, this is really bad."
I like that you watched it and now have an opinion because. You didn't. I'm not calling you out. I'm not saying this negative. You didn't justify it, but you did. You kind of give the like. Well, they paid. I get it, but it was bad and gratuitous and gross. And
yeah, the reason that I didn't like it was, I mean, more than it's clear that obviously like Sony paid for this whole thing to happen, right? So like it makes sense that they're gonna try to do one, but like, there's so many properties in there that you're just like. These could have been primed to get their own. Like rather than doing your own stupid commercial. That is bad.
Mm-hmm. Very bad.
You could have done a Shadow of the Colossus episode, a Helldivers episode, even a God of War episode. You could have done all of those, still gotten the same thing where even if you save them all for the end and everyone's like, damn, there's a lot of PlayStation fucking properties back-ending this, whatever, it wouldn't have mattered because if they were good episodes, then everybody would have been like, sweet, that's cool. But you did this giant like commercial of just being like, anyway, guys, PlayStation's the best place to play.
PlayStation commercials with cooler shit in it. Like she takes her bike and like has these really shitty, quippy one-liners throughout the entire thing. And the only thing they had with the Kratos is like she drives a bike over the top of him. She's like, "Oh, you want to battle? Let's fucking do this." And she drives her bike over the top of him and then drives off. I'm like, what? So you just grab the model and put it in there for a second? Like that's the same amount of time I saw in the trailer of the fucking secret level. That's bad. It's bad. And all you had is like 3 IPs in there too. It wasn't a lot.
It was God of War, Shadow of the Colossus, and Helldivers. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe one other one.
Yeah, and then the house from. I think it's the house from The Last of Us. I'm not sure. Either way, it doesn't matter. It was not good. No, I did not enjoy it at all.
Exceptionally bad.
I came away from that being like, well, Warhammer and Armored Core were cool.
Mm-hmm. So that's all I got.
Sounds about right. And now all those people that were like, you know, oh, Microsoft's lame for not putting Halo or Doom in this. But honestly, I'd have been like, well, I don't know. If I'd have seen all these episodes, I'd have been like,
I'm good. Do you really just want 10 minutes of Halo? A really cool
CG cutscene? It's probably better that you just didn't do it.
And they said they approached them about a Halo Doom crossover.
Yeah, it's a crossover. So it's supposed to be
both
together.
Yeah.
I bet you they probably looked at the way and they were just like, no,
I'm good.
That's okay. Yeah. This isn't going to be that good. And they were right. So, you know, I guess vindication that way. But yeah, that was it. That was my week.
All right, cool.
All right. Well, that is our week with no offensive views on Cyberpunk. So thank you for hanging out with us, everyone. Be sure to tune in later this week as we discuss the final part of Zone of Enders, the second runner. Zone of Enders 2, second runner. There we go. So yeah, final part. Look forward to that. And with that, Preston, you know what to do.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.